Hey there everyone, welcome back. I'm walking through my chaotic cut flower garden that my husband and I planted this year. We're hoping to sell some of these flowers and some other things from our little hobby farm, like some pumpkins and some chicken eggs and things like that. But I need a farm stand to do that, so I want to bring you along with me to build that farm stand today. So let's get into it. In my very messy barn, don't judge me, we have an old workbench that we've had for quite some time now, and it's not being put to good use. As you can see, there's a bunch of junk on it. We cleaned it all off, and now my husband and I are going to take it outside to assess it to make sure that it's not damaged, and it would be good to use it as a farm stand. Thankfully, the table is in good condition, other than the fact that it has a bunch of stains on it from paint and just using it for various projects in the past. It also has some burn marks on it from when my husband used it to brew beer on, so it needs a good scrubbing. I got out the soap and water and a scrub brush, and I gave it some elbow grease and I scrubbed it and scrubbed it. I got everything out of the cracks and crevices and got it as clean as I could get it. Unfortunately, once the table was all dry, it still didn't look that great, but nothing that a sander can't fix. I got out the 60 grit sandpaper and I just started sanding the whole table down, and thankfully that did take out most of the burn marks and all of the paint and stain that was still stuck on there that I couldn't scrub off. So it looked a lot better, and I was now ready to make this into a farm stand. The first thing I'm going to do to this table is I'm going to add some 2x4s to the two front legs, and that's because I want the front legs to be flush with the top of the table. So I just cut a couple scrap 2x4s that I had and I screwed them into the front of the legs. Now I need a roof for my farm table, so I had these 8-foot 2x2s lying around that I wasn't using. So I cut 2 of them at 7 feet, and I'm going to attach one of them to each of the back legs of the table. I just used some screws to attach those. And then to the front of the table, I'm going to attach 2 more of the 2x2s that I cut at 6 feet. And I did that so that way I could have a slanted roof. And then you can see here, I attached those 2x2s to the 2x4s that I added to the table so that way everything would be flush and it was easier to attach those 2x2s to the table. And then lastly, I'm going to add another 2x2 in between the back 2 pieces, just with some screws, so that way I can use that as something to hang stuff on, and also it helps for this to be a little more supported. I did move that a little bit lower later on because it was too high. I realized that after I filmed everything. Next, I'm just going to stain the whole table with some early American stain. I just used an old sock to apply the stain so that way I could throw it away after I was done. After I stained it, I just let this sit for a while to dry before I moved on to the roof. So for the roof of my farm stand, I went back and forth about a few different options, but ultimately decided on this heavy-duty canvas drop cloth from Home Depot. I thought that would be the easiest and least expensive way to put a roof on this. So I got a 6x9 drop cloth and I put it onto the top of the farm stand. I had it laying the wrong way in that last clip. I did turn it around here so that way the longer side would be going down the back of the farm stand, and it would cover up more of the back of the farm stand and look better. And then I just went around the farm stand and I used some clips and pulled everything tight and got everything even before I actually nailed everything down. To hold the drop cloth in place, I'm using these upholstery nails that I just got at Home Depot. I got a couple packs of them. I'm starting off by just going to the 2x2s at the top and removing those clips, and then just pulling the drop cloth really, really tightly, as tight as I can pull it, and folding over that excess fabric to make it look like it has nice edges, and also wrapping it around the 2x2s if I need to. And then once I got it pulled really tightly, I am nailing in those upholstery nails. I didn't want to cut this fabric too much if I didn't have to, because I didn't want it to fray since it's going to be outside in all different kinds of weather. So I tried to fold the fabric as much as possible. Like you can see here, the bottom of this fabric didn't touch the bottom shelf of the table. So I went ahead and folded that up and pulled it tightly and then just nailed it down. And I made sure everything was as tight as I could pull it so that way the top of the roof did not hold any water. And I can tell you, we've been through a few thunderstorms and a bunch of rain since I have had this up, and it does not hold any water and it dries out really quickly. So I'm super happy with how this roof turned out. Now basically the farm stand is done, so now I'm just gonna kind of decorate it and put things on it that I need. I got these buckets that hang at a yard sale a long time ago, and they've just been sitting in my barn. So I cleaned them up and I'm gonna hang them on that back 2x2. Unfortunately, as you can see there, that 2x2 was not thick enough for the bars on the back there to hang the buckets. So I had to add an extra scrap 2x2 to each one of these so that way I could nail in that bar. But it was no big deal. I just screwed that 2x2 into the other one and then screwed up the bar to both of those 2x2s, and it held really nicely. And then I just can hang my buckets on there, and I can add flowers or whatever else I want to put in those buckets, or they can just be for cute decoration. I added this metal lock box to accept payments in. I just got this off of Amazon, and I screwed it in to the top of my table with a few screws. And then I added a please pay here sign that I printed off on my Cricut. And I also added a couple floral chickens that I printed off with some vinyl that I got from Dollar Tree a long time ago, and I think it looks really cute. Next, I just needed a sign to tell everybody the name of our farm stand. It's called Petal and Pumpkin. I printed this sign out with my Cricut, and I just attached this to that 2x2 there in the back. Next to the front 2x2, I attached this chalkboard that just says welcome and tells everybody what we're selling and how much we're selling it for. Lastly, I just need to add our product to sell. I made a couple floral bouquets. I made a zinnia bouquet and a cosmo bouquet. And then I added our eggs from our chickens, and that was it. I really love how our farm stand turned out. It's super cute. I know we don't have a lot of product to sell right now. There's definitely some kinks we need to work out, especially with our flowers and how we're going to plant them next year, because we ended up with a lot of cosmos this year, which we weren't expecting, but that's okay. And we have a lot of pumpkins to sell when fall comes around, so I'm excited about that. And we have bees, so hopefully we'll be able to sell honey. So there's just a lot of opportunity, and I'm really excited to see what comes from this. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and leave me a chicken emoji down below if you made it all the way through the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.